I've played ball at a lot of courts, but there's something different about West 4th. People say it's just a court, but I've seen things there. Things that don't leave when the lights go out. This is what happened the night I stayed too long. West 4th and the one who never left. I used to think there was nothing purer in this world than a late-night game at the Cage. You know the place. West 4th Street, right off 6th Avenue in Manhattan. You can hear the subway under your feet if it's quiet enough. Rusted fences, graffiti tags from kids long gone, and a backboard that's eaten more bricks than an East Harlem housing project. No references, no rules, just sweat, noise, and pride. I wasn't born in New York, but I moved here when I was 16. My mom got a job at a hospital in Queens, night shifts mostly. That meant a lot of nights alone. I'd always loved ball, and once I found the Cage, it felt like something clicked. Like the city was ugly and loud and uncaring. But this court? This court was church. I started playing there every weekend, then weekdays, then almost every night after work. The games were rough, fast, always full of attitude, but it taught me something. If you earned your place on that concrete, people saw you. No filters, no followers, no algorithm, just your game. That was before I noticed him. The first time I really saw him was a Thursday night in late August. It was humid, the kind of night where the sweat sticks to your socks before you even hit the court. We were running fours, half court, tight rotation. There was this older guy, mid-30s maybe, real quiet. He didn't speak much, didn't argue fouls, didn't even nod when someone hit a good shot. What stood out wasn't his silence, it was his style. Dude played like it was 1985, wore short shorts, plain white tee, canvas high tops. His crossover was slow and deliberate, but somehow no one could stop it. I watched him post up on a kid twice his size and float it right in, smooth like water off the glass. Nobody called him by name, not once. When the game ended, I figured someone would dap him up or talk trash or something, but he just stepped off the court, walked along the chain link, and disappeared down West 4th without a word. I saw him again 2 nights later. Same clothes, same moves, same silence. And this time, I played against him. Look, I'm not cocky, but I've got speed. I'm quick on defense. I don't fall for fakes. But when I tried to guard this guy, it was like trying to hold on to smoke. He didn't move fast. He just moved right. Every step put me off balance. Every jab pulled me half a second out of rhythm. He wasn't flashy, but he hit everything. Mid-range, glass, baseline fadeaway. Like a ghost built from fundamentals. He didn't sweat, not once. After the game, I caught up with a guy named Rico, who'd been running there way before me. I asked him about the quiet dude. Rico got real still. "You mean the dude with the old school kicks?" he said. "Yeah," I said. White tee, mid-range god. Rico's mouth twitched, like he was about to smile, but something stopped him. Then he said, low, "You saw him too, huh?" Rico didn't look scared, just cautious. He had this way of squinting at you when he was serious, like he was trying to decide if you deserved the truth. He leaned against the fence and nodded toward the court. "You ever hear about the blackout game?" I shook my head. "What blackout?" "03, he said. "Big one. Took down half the Northeast. No subways, no streetlights. Whole city turned into a cave." I vaguely remembered reading about it. Back then, I was too young to care. Just another thing New Yorkers survived and turned into a story. "Well," Rico said, "that night, there was a game here. Moon was full, hot as hell, and no one could sleep. so some of the regulars came out with boom boxes and LED floodlights. Ran a game that went past 2 in the morning. He paused. There was this kid, real quiet. Fundamentals for days. Hit everything. Always wore the same white tee and old school Nikes. Smooth, polite, but weird. Never joined in the trash talk. Never said much at all. I felt my mouth go dry. What happened? Rico stared at the gate like he was seeing something through it. He dropped 14 in the final run, then just collapsed. Right there, top of the key. Heart? I asked. Rico shrugged. They say he never made it to the hospital, just died. Ambulance got stuck in the gridlock. He looked at me now. You know what day that was? I shook my head. August 14th. I glanced at my phone. It was August 14th. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay on my mattress with my knees up, phone in my hand, staring at the black screen like it owed me answers. I didn't believe in ghosts. Not really. But I couldn't stop thinking about that guy on the court. The way he moved. The way nobody passed him the ball. And yet, he always ended up with it. The way no one ever said his name. I scrolled through local message boards, old blogs, Reddit threads, nothing concrete. But one comment stuck with me. Some players never really leave the cage. Some just stop being seen during the day. I went back the next night. I told myself it was just to watch, not to play, just to see if he showed up again. I sat on the bench behind the chain link fence and kept my hoodie up, eyes on the game. There he was. Same clothes, same rhythm, same presence, moving between people without drawing attention. It was like watching someone play around the living, not with them. They passed to him like muscle memory, but no one celebrated his shots. No one yelled when he scored. It was like they didn't even realize he was there. He only played under the lights, just past 9 p.m., when the shadows were long and the air tasted like rust and hot rain. And then, as the last game ended, he looked at me. Not at the court, not at the ball, at me, like he'd known I was watching the whole time. After he looked at me, I couldn't move. Not out of fear. It wasn't like he did anything threatening. He just saw me, like I'd finally stepped into the game, even from behind the fence. Like I wasn't invisible to him anymore. The others kept playing, ball bouncing, shoes squeaking, trash talk flying. But he just stood there, mid-court, head tilted slightly like he was trying to place me, like maybe he remembered me from somewhere else. And then he turned, walked off the court, same slow pace as always. But this time, I followed. He went down West 4th, then cut left into the side streets. I didn't even think about it. I just stayed far enough behind to avoid looking like a threat, but close enough to not lose him. He walked past the record store, past a corner deli, and into one of those old red brick buildings that looked like it hadn't been touched since the 70s. He didn't buzz, just pushed the door open and went in. I stopped outside, waited, watched. Nothing. The door stood cracked slightly open, like it was inviting me in. And that's when I noticed it. The building had no lights on, no windows glowing from behind curtains, no lobby lights, just silence, and the faintest smell of old wood and sweat and dust. I stepped inside. The floor creaked. Stairs groaned under my weight. I followed the sound of sneakers on concrete, faint but steady, echoing up through the stairwell. I climbed to the second floor, then the third. Then the sound stopped. I stood in the hallway, heart pounding. Dim yellow light flickered from a busted fixture overhead. The walls were lined with old flyers for community events that had long since passed. A curling piece of paper read, West 4th Youth League Championship, August 2003. The date hit me like a fist. I reached out, touched it. It was still warm, like someone had just put it there. That's when I heard the ball bounce. Once, twice, then faster. Pop, 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 pop. I turned, and at the end of the hallway, where a steel door stood slightly ajar, I saw a light flicker. A gym. Somehow, impossibly, a half-court tucked into a space that couldn't fit one. I stepped in. The court was perfect. Wooden floor, glossy, freshly waxed, baskets with chain nets, and a single figure shooting free throws at the far end. It was him. Same clothes, same shot, same motion. But this time, when the ball hit the rim, it made no sound. Not even the chain rattled. I stepped forward. He turned slowly and smiled. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't welcoming either. It was tired. Like he'd been waiting a long time for someone to walk through that door. He said one word, you. That one word broke the silence like a crack down my spine. He didn't yell it. He didn't whisper it either. It just landed, like a basketball dropping into an empty gym. Heavy, final. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My throat was dry, and something deep inside me felt like it was being pulled tight, like a cord twisting around my ribs. He walked toward me, not threatening, just direct, measured. His shoes didn't make a sound on the wood. His eyes never left mine. When he got close, I finally found my voice. Who are you? His head tilted again. That same slow motion I'd seen at the cage. Like a dog trying to understand a language it almost remembers. I was here, he said. You are now. I don't understand. He looked past me toward the open doorway, and for the first time, I noticed something beyond the threshold. Not the hallway, not the stairs I came through. Darkness, heavy, shifting darkness. Like the gym was floating above something far deeper, far older. You play long enough, he said. You stop being a name. You become part of the floor. He turned around and pointed to the key. There was a mark there. A faint outline burned into the wood. It looked like a body, lying face up, arms out, exactly where he'd collapsed in Rico's story. I stepped closer, heart hammering. You died here, I said. He nodded once. No, he corrected. I stayed. The door slammed shut behind me. Not with a bang. It just sealed, like it was never there. I turned back, but the hallway was gone. The gym was gone. All that remained was concrete, chain link, graffiti on the walls, and overhead, flickering light. I was back at the cage, alone, except I wasn't. The court was filled, not with people, with shadows, figures playing, shooting, talking trash in low, echoing voices. Dozens of them, all familiar, all wrong, like memories taped together. And standing across from me was the man in the white tee. Only now, he wasn't alone. More players were there, dressed in old uniforms, some with blood on their jerseys, others barefoot. One guy with a cast still on his leg. They looked like echoes of games that never finished. Play, the man said. The ball rolled to my feet. The ball touched my foot. Just a ball. Worn rubber, half flat. Nothing magical, nothing glowing or cursed. But my body tensed like I'd stepped into water that was just a little too deep. My heart was dribbling harder than my hands ever could. The man in the white tee stepped back behind the arc. The others spread out. No one spoke. No one asked if I was ready. Because this wasn't about rules anymore. This was about invitation. I picked up the ball, and I passed it. The game was Strange, fast, smooth, like we'd all played together for years. They moved around me with rhythm, with sync. I fell into it without thinking. Cut, pivot, drive. And no matter how many buckets we hit, the score never changed. There was no scoreboard. There was no end. The more I moved, the heavier my limbs got. Like gravity was shifting, pulling me down, pulling me in. I looked down at my hands. They were darker, wetter. The skin around my knuckles scraped raw like I'd been hitting blacktop for years. My shirt had changed. Cotton, stained, familiar. I was wearing a plain white tee. I stopped, looked around. The others didn't. They just kept playing. Ball to ball. Run to run. No one sweating. No one stopping for water. Just motion, like a loop. Like muscle memory on a tape someone refused to eject. I stepped off the court. The moment I touched the edge of the fence, everything froze. The players stopped. The ball bounced once, twice, then stopped midair. Just hung there, weightless. And all of them turned to look at me, one by one. The man with the white tee stepped forward. "You stepped out," he said. I nodded, chest heaving. "I'm not like you," I said. "I'm not dead." He didn't respond. He just raised one hand and pointed to the gate. It was open. I ran. Through the gate, onto the sidewalk, up the block, past the record store, the deli, the lights, the living. I didn't stop until I was 3 stations away, on a different train line, heart breaking through my ribs. I didn't go back to the cage for weeks. When I finally did, it was mid-afternoon. Sun out. Kids running half court. Laughter. Music from a speaker clipped to the fence. Normal. Safe. I asked one of the old-timers, a guy I'd seen there a dozen times, if he remembered the player in the white tee. He looked at me like I was messing with him. "There's 100 guys in white tees," he said. "You'll have to be more specific." But later, as I was leaving, I saw something on the far end of the fence, scratched into the metal post, barely visible. 3 letters, TP. Below it, etched deeper, a date, August 14th, 2003. And just above it, a faint outline, 2 sneakers, toes pointed inward, like someone had been standing there for a very, very long time. I don't play there at night anymore. Sometimes I still pass by, and I swear I see him, just standing at the top of the key, waiting for the game to start again. Some courts never close,